short closing. And then we invite you to stay for the following 30 minutes where Stacy will answer any of your questions. And we just get to mingle a little bit more. Okay? Thanks so much for being here. Amanda?
Great. I am just so thrilled to see all of you here and all these faces from so many different aspects of my life in Boulder and elsewhere with my mom here. So I am so excited to host this third of a series of 3 happy hours that we've been experimenting with Chai for Charity. One of the things that I did when our family moved to Boulder 2 years ago is I reached out to Natasha, who is incredibly welcoming, and I've met many folks that are on this call through Natasha. And not only that was she welcoming to me, but she kind of welcomed me into her charity work. She started this organization called Chai for Charity, which she'll tell you more about. But my experience with Chai for Charity is going to a Chai for Kids where my kindergartner at the time was able to participate in putting together bags, hundreds of bags for families experiencing homelessness. And it was just one way to help them connect with the community. And then I knew that Natasha had these Chai for Charity events where they're in person, usually in real life, and they profile 3 local nonprofits. And I had been planning on doing one of these in June as like a late birthday celebration in person at our house. And because that didn't happen, I strong-armed Natasha into experimenting with a virtual format, which seems to have been wildly successful in my mind. So that's my connection to Chai. My connection to Defy started out through when I moved to Colorado. One of the things I really needed to get involved in local community in order to feel part of here, to feel at home here. And so I ended up getting connected to the Techstars Foundation because my passion is in racial justice and entrepreneurship as a former entrepreneur. And the Techstars Foundation does just that. It funds nonprofits that help foster entrepreneurship around folks that are from underrepresented communities. And so as I knew that Defy Colorado had been one of the initial grantees of the Techstars Foundation, and then when I was at work at Google, we had a Google Serve event, which is like once a year, Google does these things where groups get together and do a service activity. And this Google Serve event was with Defy Colorado, and it was an epic journey to go to prison to see the graduation after a 9-month entrepreneurship training program, and to see not just the graduation, but the pitches, the final round pitches, and the final competition, and meet the entrepreneurs in training, and their families who were there to celebrate their success in graduating from this program, some of whom hadn't graduated from anything that their families were able to recognize them for. So it was such a touching experience. One of the top 4, I think maybe top 2 entrepreneurs in the Pitch Fest was Ron. And Ron and I ended up having lunch together. His idea was to create a hair cutting service for folks that are coming out of prison or in kind of halfway houses. I may not be using the right term. And because he had so much experience from years of doing 700 haircuts a week, I think he was doing in prison, just like massive experience. So it just made so much sense for something that he was so talented in to be able to then go do it to make money and have a source of income coming out of prison. Now, the exciting thing, when COVID hit, I was really concerned about what was happening in our prisons in Colorado, and got to connect with Stacy and through the Techstars Foundation, connected with Jason and Jen Mendelson, who I think you might hear from later. And we started raising money. They raised a lot of money, and I helped connect Google to raise some money to give laptops to the former entrepreneurs in training who were getting released early from prison, one of whom was Ron. And you'll see the video that Stacy sent, but I'm just so proud of him in particular. But this program is so impactful, and I know that you'll feel that just after you hear from Stacy. So I'll hand it over to you, Stacy.
Thanks, Amanda. What a great intro. I think that the best way to learn about Defy is from other volunteers. So I'm super excited to actually have, from what I can see just on my screen, 4 people that have been to prison with us and have volunteered with us. So I'm going to put some folks on the spot throughout, but I'd actually like to start with who Amanda was just talking about, Ron. So Ron got out very recently, and I was just going to show you guys a video clip of him thanking Amanda and all the other donors that helped us put this backpack project together, which I'll tell you more about in a second. So I'm going to share my screen. Make it full screen maybe. Okay, it's really short. It's amazing that he was in the top 4 at the business pitch competition because he's very shy about speaking, but it's really sweet to hear his genuine gratitude. So listen closely.
Hi, Google Boulder, sorry. My name is Ronald Campbell. I'm grateful to have this cell phone backpack because it helped me in my reentry back to society, and I get to learn on a Chromebook. That if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to. So thank you very much.
So that's our sweet Ron. He was in prison for about 12 to 15 years. I can't remember exactly. So the idea of technology was very daunting to him. So being able to have a Chromebook and a cell phone and someone to help teach him how to use that was really important in his transition back into society. So I wanted to start today by telling you about Ron, and then also telling you a little bit about me and how I came to this work. I think that the biggest misconception about people with criminal histories is that they're somehow other or separate from or different from the rest of us. And that just couldn't be further from the truth. And I feel like I know that most deeply in my core from my own personal life experience. So my dad is my biggest inspiration in life every single day. I feel like I get up and I do what I do for him. He struggled with addiction, both to cocaine and alcohol, and to a fast lifestyle. While my dad never did any time in prison, it's simply for the fact that he never got caught. And for the few times that he did get arrested, he had a little bit more privileged situation and was able to get out of those situations. There are currently 2.2 million people incarcerated in the United States. And I think that all of their daughters and sons and mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles deserve to feel as proud of their loved ones as I feel of my dad. So that's where Defy comes in. We start to even the playing fields and to level things out, to give people opportunities that otherwise they wouldn't have. So a couple stats to start out with for you guys to keep in the back of your mind as we go through this presentation. Like I already said, there's 2.2 million people incarcerated in the United States. We have the largest rate of incarceration in the entire world. Some of our states have larger incarcerated populations than most countries. There are 17,000 people currently incarcerated in the state of Colorado right now, spread across 22 prisons. Of the people that get out of prison nationally, 70% of them will return to prison within 3 years. In the state of Colorado, 50% of them will return within 3 years. So 1 out of every 2 people that are getting out will go back. Having a criminal history reduces employer callbacks by 50%. So they're not even getting return phone calls. Also, in the state of Colorado, it costs $39,000 to incarcerate someone on average per year. Black people also make up 12% of our nation's population, but 43.9% of the federal incarcerated population and the state incarcerated population. And detailed evidence and research shows that they do not commit crimes at a higher rate. So it's a extreme example of the racial disparities and inequalities that exist in our country. 1 in 28 children with parents, 1 in 28 children have an incarcerated parent. So I was thinking about the very first presentation that we watched and all those kiddos that we learned about. 1 in 28 of them have an incarcerated parent. So there's so many stats that get at the mind of like why this is an important problem and why this is something that we should all be passionate about. But usually where we start to get more of an emotional buy-in and connection is when we think about our own personal experience. So I'm actually going to walk you guys through an activity really quick. And so I want you all to look at your chat box, your Zoom window, and look down at the bottom to where it says reactions. It's closest to the leave button on the right-hand side. Does everyone see that? Mary's clapping for me. So if everyone can do any kind of reaction on the window. Beautiful, amazing, perfect. So we're gonna do an activity virtually that we usually do in prison, where I'm gonna read a series of statements. And if the statement is true for you, you're gonna do that reaction. If you feel comfortable, if you feel like it's something that you wanna disclose to the rest of the group. So I'm gonna share my screen again.
Just for the record, I can't find what you're talking about, so I'm going to take myself out of the survey.
You can put your thumb up in, your real thumb instead of a fake one. It's because you're
my thumb with you too, because
yeah.
I can't find it either.
Perfect. Okay. So this is a picture of our folks inside. If my computer will load. Well, hang on. Way too far back in the slideshow. There was a lot more to this slideshow. There we go. Play from current slide. We're all learning so much about technology. So this is a picture of our folks inside. This is a pretty representative picture of what it looks like to be at an event with us. So usually in real life, you see how right now all their toes are on that blue line. So you would step forward when a statement is true for you. We're going to do emojis on a screen instead, but we'll get the same point across. So my parents paid for me to attend private school or college. You can see usually one of our participants have that true for them. I've been needlessly stopped or questioned by the police. Nearly every night, one of my parents tucked me into bed and told me I was loved. I heard gunshots in my neighborhood. I experienced the effects of drug or alcohol addiction in my family. Violence took place in my home. By 18, the way I was living, I thought I wouldn't make it to 21. I did some really, really stupid things before the age of 23. So we like to do that activity just to start to notice what are some of the things that we have in common with people? And what are maybe some of the things that differentiate us being able to be on a Zoom call right now and them being in isolation inside a prison right now? So we've talked a lot about the why, and I want to tell you guys a little bit about the how and how we do what we do. So there's really three major buckets that we address. One is individual skill development. So that's our direct programming that we do with our EITs. We're working on policy and criminal justice reform policy to change the system that our EITs are part of and have been caught up in. And we change the hearts and the minds of the community. And so that's what we're doing here today by talking with all of you. We can't change the way the criminal justice system works unless we change the way the private sector and all of us in the community respond to people with criminal histories. So to tell you more about the way we serve our participants, I'm going to walk you through what it would be like to be a participant in our program. So we call everyone in our program an entrepreneur in training, or an EIT for short. They're used to being called offenders or inmates or prisoners. And it's really that self-fulfilling prophecy of, if you were called an offender every single day, how would you start to act? I know that I wouldn't act the same as I do now. So we call them entrepreneurs in training to instill a belief in them that they are an entrepreneur. We run them through an 8-month in-prison program, which is one of the things that makes us really unique, is that we work with people while they're still in prison. Weirdly enough, that's what it's for, right? Rehabilitation, or that's what they say. So that's what we work on. While they're in the 8-month program, they go through character development, job readiness training, re-entry preparation, and entrepreneurial education. People with criminal histories have so many traits in common with entrepreneurs. And in entrepreneurs, we admire those traits. We say, wow, they're so relentless. They have so much grit and hustle. And we admire that in them. But as soon as entrepreneurs do it, in our entrepreneurs, our EITs, do it when they've grown up in the worst of circumstances and adapted those skills as a way to survive, we criminalize it. And so we start to teach them that those skills are extremely valuable and can be transformed into legal career and business skills. In that program, they develop a full business plan. And at the very end, just like Amanda spoke about in the beginning, they pitch their for-profit business in a 3-minute Shark Tank style business pitch competition, and they get a certificate of entrepreneurial readiness from Colorado State University as well. Sorry, I know, Boulder, but I went to CSU, so I'm very proud of it. We then also continue to support people upon their release. So when they get out, we have what we call pathways to reentry, which is really just focusing on basic needs and getting them reintegrated back into the community successfully. And then on career development. Once they're secure and stable and have everything that they need, we help them build their career. And for many of them, that includes starting their entrepreneurial endeavor. That's changed a lot in COVID. So that's where the computers come into play that Amanda talked about in the beginning. We've become so reliant on technology. We are all on a Zoom call right now. And it would be impossible to be successful in this community without adequate technology. So we did a big fundraiser at the beginning of the year. It's so fun that I get to give Jen and Jason a shout out for that too, because they helped us raise most of the money that we used to buy the Chromebooks and the cell phones for everyone. Google had a huge part in that as well. So all of you Google employees, and obviously Amanda, we're so grateful because we've been able to provide 25 reentry packs. So Chromebooks, cell phones, 3 months of data, gift cards so that they can meet their basic needs, backpacks, masks, hand sanitizer, all those weird things that we need now during COVID. And do I have time still to play my video, or did I talk too much? Okay, great. So I wanted you guys to be able to meet some of our folks and see things in a little bit different light. My computer is gonna die. That's embarrassing. I moved so I could have better lighting. Hold please. So I'm going to play you guys a quick video so you can see what it would be like if you were able to come into prison with us. Not sharing my screen. There we go. Can you guys see it? Give me a thumbs up if you can.
There's a lot of firsts here. We've never had a volunteer program this big here.
I think when I first came to prison, I was like most people. I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect.
We have never mixed populations before, and you guys overcame a lot.
We run an entrepreneurial-based program.
Our work is focused on character development and entrepreneurial education.
Man, I probably learned the most about myself.
There's not enough programs that are geared towards success.
And what I found in the first day was a new environment, a new community, a new set of friends, frankly.
We start every single class with commitments to our classroom expectation.
I will be honest. I will allow myself to become vulnerable.
I am proud of myself. I can hold my head high. People know my past and love me anyway.
They were addressing self-limiting beliefs, fear of failure, figuring out how to manage emotion.
Am I adequate? Am I smart enough? Am I educated enough?
I learned mostly about things that landed me in prison, right? The character things that I used.
We're bringing volunteers in from the community, and they're bringing in business leaders. We're bringing in people who want to help.
I'm lucky enough to get to know each and every one of you, and I just care about you so much and want to see you succeed more than anything.
Today was a culmination for them. Today, they pitched businesses that they have been working on for the past 8 months.
I'm Defy EIT Bay Barrington. Welcome to the Colorado Defy Pitch Competition.
The name of my company is Freedom Consulting. We're a gang intervention and prevention service that eradicates gang associations and affiliations from families in these communities.
Revolutionary system that actually can defend against flood mitigation.
I'm the CEO and founder of the Uma Grill, which is a halal fast food stand.
A finalized contract with my company and having a certain percentage of that donated to any charity or nonprofit organization of their choice.
We're going to keep the energy going. Today is a high energy day. It's all about celebrating today. It's all about recognizing the hard work all of us have put into this program.
Still on the right side right now, but here in a few minutes, we're going to put it on the left side. I mean, I graduated. You know, it's my first time ever wearing a cap and gown.
And today was the culmination of all our hard work, dedication, and commitment paying off and shining through in an unforgettable way.
I grew up in a rotten area where it was all bad all the time.
You know, I thought gangbanging was all it's about. School of hard knocks, you know? Living life, fighting, taking stuff from people.
And I think Defy was my crutch. You guys are my champions.
Only when I got enrolled in Defy, you know, that I really kind of figured out with life and all its values and what it really meant.
I would recommend that every warden, and just because it is very important to help reinforce positive behavior. You know, you want to get productive inmates, wardens, get Defy on board.
Oh man, I'd absolutely recommend Defy. I recommend Defy to every facility.
The people here, our EITs, are learning life skills so that they don't recidivate back.
So one of the highest level of compliments I can pay to you guys is, you know, we've discussed this and we as management team had decided we'll do the program again. We're going to keep going.
Look, I'm supporting this. All these people behind me are supporting this. We've been supporting this for the last 8 months in this program alone. And now it's time we need your support. Thank you.
Thank you. So to put folks on the spot, Jen and Jason, can you guys just tell everyone a little bit about your experience, why you love Defy, why you love our EITs? We'd love to hear from you.
Well, I'm going to let Jason start because I get so choked up after I watch. I'm like, those are our boys, and I just, you know, So I'm gonna let Jason start, and then when I can compose myself, I will chime in. So yeah.
I mean, I think selfishly, it's the organization I've learned the most from. I've spent, I just retired after a 20-year career in venture capital, and I was a lawyer and a software engineer and a company starter. And I've learned more through working with the EITs than all of that other hubbub I used to do that I felt so important about. It puts everything in perspective. It's incredibly amazing. I think what feels so, to me, unfair from the social justice is you look at the characteristics of some of the most famous entrepreneurs we know, creating some of the biggest companies we know, and those manic in some ways or outsized personalities or whatever are an eighth of a step away different than the people you just saw in that video wearing green jumpsuits. Mm-hmm. The talent inside these prisons is so incredible and so inspiring. It breaks my heart, not only for them, but for us as a country, that we are not optimizing and using the talent that we have in there and fulfilling the dreams that these people have had. The concept of a second choice is wrong here. Most of these people never had a chance, right? This isn't a second chance, it's the chance they've had. Yeah. And for the vast majority of them, they're taking it and running with it in a non-entitled, resilient way that unfortunately is very rare. So I have put a lot of these people at the top of the stack of all the entrepreneurs I've met. Several of them. It was nice seeing, people in that video who are now out, that we're now mentoring, and they're doing their companies. Mm-hmm. One of the gentlemen you saw in that video had 2 patents issued, not 2 patents filed, 2 patents issued while he was in prison, and then came out and now is fulfilling his dreams in those. So, it's good for everybody around. It's good for the ITs. It's good for yourself. It's good for society. It's good for social justice. It's one of the only things I've ever done in my entire life that's just all good.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I got.
And I think for me, Jason came home one day and we always have an agreement that, if we donate, we okay it with each other. We talk about it. And he said, babe, I did something today and I hope you don't get angry, but we just donated with this. And he said, to this prison entrepreneur training program. And I said, what? And I thought he was crazy. And then I have to say that, like 99% of the people in the US, I had no idea how broken our prison system was. I had no idea how bad it was. I had no understanding that we are the worst in the world with how long and how many we incarcerate. And, I always thought of myself as, pretty open-minded to everybody and everything. But I will say, as I spent prison, I started about 5 years ago in California. And I realized I had a prejudice against gang members. And because I thought, well, there's nothing good there. Like, how could you justify that? And what I came to learn, because I had no understanding really of what happens, and was lucky enough that I wasn't born into that I realized what Jason just said. This is not a second chance. This really is a first chance for more than 90% of these people. And when you hear the stories and when you hear about the basic human needs of, being loved, caring if you come home, feeding, getting fed that day. Many of these men and women didn't have that growing up. And their only outlet of people that gave that to them was a gang. And these gangs are smart. They start young. And, really it was a huge education for me. And as I've learned more and more, we've just keep going head first into more and more time and getting more and more devoted to these people and growing the program. So I thank you all for being here today. We're very happy that you're here. So thank you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I appreciate that. And I think that Jen brings up a great point, which is not a lot of people know about the prison system. It's not something that's talked about often. If anything, it's glorified on Orange is the New Black, and that's like our society's understanding of incarceration. And now you know. And so my call to action or my question or my ask is that you guys don't forget and that you join us in making sure that everybody else knows now too. So Natasha's going to send out an email afterwards, and I'll have all of our social in there and everything so you can follow and stay up with us. But then forward that content along to all of your networks, to all of your family members, because we have to get this word out and we have to spread the message far and wide. Talk to your companies about hiring people with criminal histories. Talk to your families about, they, instead of giving a Christmas gift this year, they all donate to us so that we can support one entrepreneur in training in the post-release program. There's so many ways. And if you guys get plugged in with all of our content, subscribe to our newsletter, our YouTube channel, all of that, we can keep you updated on how you can link arm in arm with us and change the way our country thinks about people with criminal histories.
And in the chat window, I see some people already wanting to open their wallet.
Thank you so much.
Please go to defycolorado.org.
Yep.
And click the donate button, and any amount is very meaningful to us. Stacy, how much does it cost us to put an EIT through a program now?
It costs $1,200 to put one in-prison entrepreneur through the 8-month program. And it costs us about $1,300 to support one EIT in their first month of reentry.
And
then the number goes down from there.
And to put this in perspective, how many EITs have we had in Colorado so far total?
About 200.
And then how many full-time staff does Defy have?
3.
Yeah, so this is a lean organization.
4.
Stacy is incredible.
Incredible.
So defycolorado.org. Thank you.
Yeah, 80%. So 80 cents on every dollar goes directly to programming.
Since we're on the topic of donations and everyone's all eager, Natasha put in the chat, please donate for this event through Chai. And the reason why is because if you do, then my family and I will match that donation. So
thank you. Sorry, did not know. Thank you.
That's okay, Jason. I was going to save it to the end, but it seems like a good time because there's eagerness to throw money at you, Stacy, and all your amazing work.
I'll take it.
And I don't know if you're done, but it's also a good segue into Natasha talking a little bit about Chai, because one of the reasons why Defy fit an event like this is because of the low overhead, because that's one of the targets of the organizations that Chai supports.
Yeah, take it away, Natasha.
Thanks, Stacey. I wanted to make sure that you got it all in. That was amazing. Hi, everyone. I'll tell you a little bit about Chai, but first I want to thank Stacey and Jen and Jason and Jem and Jason. I noticed that's what it said on your name tag, and other folks on this call who have invested so much into Defy already. A personal piece, I'm personally connected to it because a close family member of mine has a problem with addiction and has been incarcerated. And so I'm just grateful for Defy existing for folks like them who require a little additional confidence to feel great about the world. Natasha, I am the founder of Chai for Charity. I'm going to try and speak really fast so that we have a chance to do breakouts and for us to get a chance to know each other. I'll tell you a little bit about our history. I'll tell you about our mission, and I'll tell you about how we do donations. So I started Chai for Charity 9 years ago after I'd done a bunch of research about nonprofits that I was really excited to invest in. I wanted to share that work with all of my girlfriends. So I reached out to girlfriends across the US. Monica Lee, who just gave me a little clap, is not only responsible for running one of those Chai events, but also for inventing the name Chai for Charity over drinks at a bar in Los Angeles. So yay, Monica, for that. So we invented Chai for Charity 9 years ago. I got my girlfriends together and we delivered Chai for Charity events in 6 locations across America at the same time on the same day, and we raised $6,000 for survivors of domestic violence. The energy was electric. We were going to start a movement. It was going to be awesome. And then 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant with my first son, and I've been pregnant ever since. So I've got 3 sons under 9 years old, and every year we repurchase the domain for Chai for Charity because I have the intention to rebuild it. And about 2 years ago, we had the opportunity to reestablished Shy for Charity in Colorado and became founded last January. So we're only about 2 years old. Thank you. We're only about 2 years old, and we run events across the world. Last year we ran in 4 states and in Ireland, and this year we were supposed to run in those same 4 states in Brazil, but then COVID messed up all our plans. And so I'm hoping for a really strong 2021, 2022. Our mission is to inspire people to give in creative ways. So essentially what I've done is created a model of giving that I hope is inclusive of folks of different socioeconomic backgrounds and generations so that we can give in ways that honor where we are in life. Because 20-year-old me had lots of time, but no money and no talent. And 40-year-old me has very little time and some money and some talent. And the 60-year-old me will have a different set of gifts to give. And so we've created a model that invites donors, guests at Shy for Charity events to give in 4 categories: money, goods, time, and talent. And part of the mechanics of how Shy for Charity works is that we work with nonprofits to source their needs in those 4 categories, and then we share those needs with you so that you can commit to give in those categories. So after this event, we'll share something called a wish list, which includes all of the things that Defy needs in the categories that I mentioned, and also the things that the other 2 nonprofits that we profiled during this series need in those 4 categories. So I invite you to donate in that way. As Amanda mentioned, once you donate to Shy for Charity, we match, Amanda's family is going to match it, and we will make sure that Defy gets all of that cash through Shy